Hey guys, and welcome to Precision 101. So, I feel like a lot of this has been a little too overdue, and I also feel like the YouTube community and the WIZARD101 community is giving KingsIsle a little too much credit than they deserve. I say that referring to things like the recent Test Realm update we just got in the game. The update consists of a hatchmaking system, a pet tome, new pet names, and finally, after 10 years, WIZARD101 has decided to add in loading screens in the game. In my opinion, the only thing I call worthwhile in this update is the hatchmaking system. Everything else in the update should have been in the game by now. But let's just take a second and give a round of applause to KingsIsle Entertainment because they have done the unheard of and listened to community feedback and added loading screens after 10 years. But let's give more of applause to you players who I have read and seen time and time again saying, finally, we got a legit update this time. For this video, I'm going to break down a couple of reasons to why I believe PvP is in the state it is right now, and later on give my own intake on how KingsIsle can maybe fix the PvP. But first, let me give you guys a little story that you might never have heard. So, in the month of May 2016, we saw surfacing tweets and articles that suggested KingsIsle had laid off more than 80 of its staff, which is a striking number because at the time, KingsIsle was known to have been made of 200 employees or so. A KingsIsle spokesman later gave a statement to verify the rumors, saying, "To verify, many talented employees were released as part of a reduction in force today at KingsIsle Entertainment, and we wish them the best. This coincides with a couple of unreleased mobile games being cancelled. The strategy is to focus our efforts on our MMO games and polish our more promising mobile projects, many of which are slated for a 2016 release. Fans of our MMOs should know that Pirate 101 is soon to receive an update and will be going to Test Realm most likely next week. WIZARD101 has new content updates in the works for both summer and fall 2016. Before anything, I hope every employee affected by the layoff has found a better place to work at by now." There are answers to why the layoffs happened, but sadly, as of 2018, no one still knows but the company and the employees themselves. The reason I told you guys this story is because I believe it plays a huge role in why PvP and PvE is in the state it is in right now. If you were to take a minute and go to WIZARD101's update notes, you can see a change in how much content the game is receiving since 2015. Remember, before the tweets and actual confirmation of the layoffs, there were articles surfacing saying possible layoffs at KingsIsle Entertainment, but no one ever imagined it would be more than 1/3 of the company. I speculate that the layoffs were premeditated and that KingsIsle was probably going to do it slowly in hope that when they released Polaris in November of 2015, they would stop because of the expected rise in profits with returning players buying membership and crowns. But when that didn't seem to happen, they most likely said better sorry than never and fired a big number of people. Okay, so why has everyone quit the game and why are players not returning? What should KingsIsle do at this point? I'm going to answer just that in the aspect of PvP today. Next video, I will answer the same question looking at it from a PvE perspective. There are 4 very important factors that I believe play the biggest role in making PvP the way it is today. Just a side note, for players who are in disbelief or haven't come to the realization that PvP is as dead as it's ever been, I want you to try this little experiment. For the next week or two that you log into the game, go to the arena and count how many players are currently in ranked matches or practice matches. And if that doesn't satisfy you, try taking out your maxed wizard to the arena and queue for a match and count how long it takes for you to get a match. After that, let it hit you hard in the face. The WIZARD101 is a massive multiplayer online game. I repeat, a massive multiplayer online game. Now, as for the first factor that I believe plays a huge role in players quitting the game and not returning, is for the fact that the game is pay to win. And not only that, but the pay to win concept heavily influences the PvP. WIZARD101's hard packs are a microtransaction that read pay to win on site. For the most part, the hard packs are usually trash, but when KingsIsle adds in game breaking spells in the hard packs, then that's a problem. As of today, April 5th, 2018, there are a total of 29 hard packs in the game, and 7 of them contain more than 3 learnable spells, a total of 14 spells that you can learn if you have the desire and money to spend on crowns. These 14 spells are extremely overpowered and in my opinion, tip the balance of the game. They usually cost 4 to 5 power pips to cast, which means that they can be casted first round. They can also deal as much as 1400 damage with an enchant and a decent gear. But that's not all. Some of the spells even leave a trap, stun, or mental on a wizard, and weaknesses. What's even worse is the fact that only players who have real cash can maybe obtain them when they are released in the game. I say maybe because the RNG in Wizard 101 is the worst I have ever seen in any game. But that doesn't excuse the fact the real cash is what gets you those spells, because King's Isle doesn't release them to the entire game via crafting until their next big major update, which can take about 4 to 6 months. Really gets you thinking to why you're paying membership when you can't obtain everything the game is offering. People with money who indulge in opening packs for the spells only do it because of PvP. So guess what happens? PvP is full of players who are lucky enough to get the spells, and they are destroying. Low PvP levels have it even easier. A low PvP cost spell plus high damage with a weakness or stun? How can it get even easier for them? Okay, next, there's the weapons and gears that also drop from the hard packs as well. Again, most of these weapons and gears have trash stats for PvP, and super trash looks, to be honest. But anyways, from time to time, King's Isle will sometimes bring out great gears and weapons in the packs, and those gears / weapon will become a meta for a while. For example, Jade Gear. Death class uses its high resist to do the Juju meta, or Fortune Teller's Wand, introduced in 2015 and took the PvP by storm because of how overpowered its stats were, and to top it off, he had a Maycast spell which does 1000 damage plus. But why would King's Isle think it's okay to add a spell that does 1000 damage up as a Maycast when the game itself is already based on luck? I think a big majority of the players quit because of the pay to win mechanics I just talked about, and it makes sense. Who wants to enjoy a game where you pay membership monthly or yearly, but end up having to spend more money on microtransactions just to be able to keep up with the end game? So King's Isle is not really a company known for listening to the community needs or suggestions. If that were the case, the loading screens they are now about to add in the game would have been in the game a while back. Which takes me to my next point, a really important point, and that is King's Isle is nowhere to be found when they have added in an overpowered spell in the game in which they clearly see is ruining PvP. And when the community cries for a nerf, they're nowhere to be found. They never do anything. And the spells aren't just overpowered, but they're unfair as well. Wizard 101 is a game that is based on multiple classes, with each having their own class spells, and that means that every class has their own playstyle. In a game like Wizard 101, balancing is a crucial part of the game, but I honestly think King's Isle does not care, and the players have seen that too. I think they would rather be putting out more pay-to-win mechanics like packs or new bundles. But in all honesty, PvP is in a state that it is right now mainly due to every shadow spell King's Isle is pushing in the game without thinking of what those shadow spells are going to do to PvP. Wizard 101's health average of a wizard is 5,000, unless you're a Nice or Life, or a Storm, in which case your health is a little bit lower than the average. And knowing all that, King's Isle Entertainment thought it was a good idea to add spells that do over 3,000 damage first round if you're lucky enough to be first and pick up a shadow spells first round, which happens a lot. It's very common. This is a major issue in the game, and I also think it's why a lot of players are quitting and not returning. They know how King's Isle works. King's Isle never nerfs or balances anything. All of them realize that if they come back to the game, it's probably going to be worse than it was before they left. But it's not only the shadow spells. There's normal spells that also need to be nerfed, but King's Isle is really just nowhere to be found. I'm honestly amazed that Lore Master never got nerfed or taken out of the game completely. That spell is proof that King's Isle does not care about players' feedback or the community. Every other class, aside from Balance, who was laughing, knew that this spell was just so overpowered. It had people quitting their main wizards to go make that class and go PvP with it because you would just destroy instantly. But has King's Isle done anything in 2018 to, fix any of that? Nope, they still haven't done anything. Let's jump to the pets now. As cute or as cool as the pets are in Wizard 101, they're also a big part of the reason why PvP is bad, not fun, and feels like it's 100% luck-based. It doesn't take a genius to see that at any given age of PvP, the pet metas are always different, and if you want to be decent at PvP and not get wrecked, you have to be with the pet meta of that age. For an example, look back at Second Age PvP. Second Age PvP was in the time frame when the Haze dungeons were opened. Due to the gears that dropped from Haze, The critical meta for that age was critical talent. Everyone had critical pets. Now jump to when it was third age PvP and the Darkmoor dungeons were released. Due to the gear that dropped from there, players were making pets about block and damage. Okay, jump to now, 4th age PvP. The pet meta is resist, and in all honesty, it's straight up disappointing and annoying. A lot of the players have just quit PvP because it's not fun. No one thinks it's fun going against immune players. But it's not about the pets, it's more about the talents that the pets can learn. For that other fact that the entire pet system is based on luck. I can have the same pet as you, but when I go to the arena and train my pet, it's not going to have the same stats as yours. And because of that, I think some talents should not be allowed in PvP. Talents like resist, critical, and block shouldn't be allowed to count towards your gear in the arena. These type of talents imbalance the classes to an extreme level, and how they imbalance the classes by giving classes a lot more stats than they really should be getting. For example, let's look at Storm class. They already have a big amount of critical from the gears / weapons they receive, and when they train a critical pet, it makes things so much worse. You can barely block a Storm Wizard in PvP, and not only that, but they already have the strongest spells in the game, so if they critical on you, you know you're about to, half of your health is gone. And then another example would be Ice Wizards. The Ice class is all about resist, which they honestly get enough from their gears. So when they have resist pets, we have Ice Wizards that can go in the arena with up to 3 classes of immune resist. How crazy is that? I myself have given up on PvP because the meta of the resist pets isn't fun. Honestly, just frustrating and aggravating. Alright. So the game has a pay-to-win system that influences PvP heavily, no balance for spells, and a game-breaking pet system that's never going to go away. What more reasons do players need to not return or even play the game at all? Well, how about the fact that as of 2018, PvP doesn't feel like an accomplishment whether you win or not at all. It doesn't matter because it's all based on luck. Or, how about the arena tickets are useless now since adding the role again? Now wizards who have money can get the cool stuff that used to take a lot of time to grind and get. I'm talking about the cool things like the duelist and the gorilla mounts that you could get with the arena tickets. It was so accomplishing when you had the gorilla mount because you only see it maybe like once or twice in a week because nobody had it. It took 9,000 arena tickets to buy the mount. Back then, a match of PvP was what, 14 arena tickets? So when you did have either of the gorilla mounts, it felt so accomplishing. I had one. They're probably the best looking mounts in the game. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that the PvP in WIZARD101 is by far the worst PvP system I've ever encountered. And no one should be surprised that the game is deserted as heck and that no one is returning. Alright, to the main part. What are things KingsIsle can do to make the game more fun and, not have everybody quit, to make the game more balanced and maybe have players return? Because as it is right now, the game could end up being dead in a couple years and it's not really that hard to see. Alright, my first suggestion is that they probably need to come up with a new way to start testing spells that are about to be released in the game. Whether the spells are from packs or coming in a spell, they need to have like an internal test realm of some sort, like where maybe the YouTube creators come in and help, like the PvP ones, because there's a lot of YouTube creators that do PvP. Or maybe just the leaderboards, like the top 10 or something like that. They go in, play against each other, and let them have an opinion and try to think about what they say and work around it. So it's easy to see the KingsIsle is more worried about making money, which it's perfectly fine. They're a company. It's more about profit than anything most of the times, but they need to start maybe thinking about changing their free-to-play model. There aren't really a lot of new players that come to the game, and one is probably because the game isn't being commercialized at all, and second is even if a new player comes in and they see that the game is pay to win, that kind of turns them off. And let's be real, WIZARD101 is not the most graphic game. WIZARD101 is not like Final Fantasy Online or Elder Scrolls Online. It shouldn't be asking for a monthly payment. They really need to think about going fully free to play, like open everything new to the players and maybe implementing other ways to make profit. I just honestly think going free to play would be the best way for WIZARD101 to go. Like, put the game on Steam, let new people come in. If it's on Steam, maybe we'll get a lot more players and the game won't be as dead as it is right now, where you go in a room and it says crowded, but you can count how many people are in one area. That's really awkward. And if they can't do at least any of that, they should at least make a vanilla server. Make like a PvP vanilla server, Like, take it back to the time when it was like Hades or Darkmoor, because I feel like that's when a lot of the players really enjoyed PvP. Honestly, like, the community was just a lot better back then in 2015-14. Right now in 2018, the community of WIZARD101 is dead. It's like nobody does anything. Like, I don't even know how these YouTubers are finding content to, put on YouTube, because nothing is going on. Everybody's dead. The game is started. It's just like you log in and be like, what do I want to do now? I mean, it's not like you're gonna craft, because the gears, you aren't gonna PvP. PvP is luck based. Nobody is good. They're just all lucky. And then like you'll be like, do I want to go farm dungeons? You get there, there's nobody. Even if you use the team up, like, still nobody. It's just the game is dead. Which is why we definitely should get a vanilla server, like right on Hades or Darkmoor. That's when everything was kind of fun still. Like PvP wasn't as messed up as it is today, but yeah, like right there, you're like, yo, come on, King's Isle, make a vanilla server, for Darkmoor. Come on, let's do it before you added all these stupid ass microtransactions in the game and all, ruined it. But hey, those are just my suggestions, guys. And that's gonna do it for this video. But if any of you have a comment or something to say, just write it down. I really want to read what people have to say to everything I said. Peace out, guys.